So yeah, bad boy main event this weekend, but it is such a shame that Undercard just isn't all that, is it? We're in for a treat, boys. My God, from top to bottom, this is gonna be unbelievable. I am absolutely buzzing here. This is going to go off, and I will say as well, if you are planning on getting off your nut on Saturday night, make sure you meet your dealer well before the night of boxing starts, because there is not one fight on this card you want to miss. So kicking off this glorious night of boxing, we've got a fantastic 50-50 light heavyweight matchup between Joshua Buatsi and Callum Smith. Both nice fellas, but my God, the build-up has been boring between this one. But you almost don't mind, really, because you just know this is going to be a great fight. I mean, Buatsi has been crying out for a breakaway performance. Callum Smith has been there, seen it, done it at 168 at light heavyweight. He obviously came up short against Beterbiev. No shame in that, but he did get battered in that one. And I definitely get the feeling that the next loss for Callum Smith will be the end. I think he'll retire. He's made his money. He's only lost at the highest level to Canelo and obviously Beterbiev, like I say. So he's a top fighter. I think he's still got something left. But if he does come up short here, I think this will be the last time we see him. He is the biggest puncher by a mile Buatsi's faced. Buatsi has obviously got some really good wins against Willie Hutchinson and Dan Aziz. Obviously, Craig Richards earlier on as well, but none of them are big punchers like Smith, and Smith does have genuine knockout power, so he's got to be careful, Buatsi, and I do think that he should come through on paper. I think Callum Smith's got a puncher's chance, but at this stage, I do just think Buatsi's more hungry. I think he's definitely the fresher of the two, and I think he'll win this on points. But he does have to be cautious of Smith's power, like I say, Buatsi, so I think he might lose a few of the earlier rounds, but I think down the stretch he'll have enough to outwork Smith, and I do just feel as if Buatsi is a bit better technically and he can outbox Smith, so yeah, Buatsi via decision for me. So next up, we've got my personal favourite fight on the card between Zhilei Zhang and Ajit Kabayel, and it's fair to say the Zhangmeister is full of confidence for this one.
Cabello, Saturday, I find you. Okay.
Oh, you just gotta love Zhang, eh? I mean, what an absolute legend. Every time I see his face, I just know everything's gonna be okay. I think the energy he brings, his personality, you can just tell he's a lovely bloke. To be honest, I've got quite an unhealthy obsession with Zhang. I think about him all the time, mainly when I'm in the shower. Anyway, moving on from that, obviously last time out, Zhang nearly took Deontay Wilder's head off with a vicious right hook. Before that, he did lose to Joseph Parker on points, but he did drop Parker twice. Unfortunately for Zhang, as good as he is when he does let his hands go, I mean, he's got super fast hands, but his feet are slower than a tortoise with asthma, and that does let him down. I mean, obviously, at the age of 41, what do you expect, really? But he does have a low punch output, and that has been his kryptonite in several fights of his. So I think if he lands on anyone, he can knock them spark out, but I think Ajit Kabayel will 100% be looking to outwork Zhang from the off. But as Joe Joyce found out, if Zhang lands on you, you are done. I mean, Joe Joyce had the best chin in heavyweight boxing before he met Zhang, and Zhang ended Joyce, really. As much as I love Joe Joyce, he has not been the same fighter since both of those fights, but especially the second one. That was just brutal. That right hook, I mean, completely just ended Joyce, unfortunately for him. But for Zhang, he knows what he's got to do. And that's get rid of Kabayel and get rid of him as early as possible, because if Kabayel is still there in the second half of the fight, I do fear for the Zhangmeister. But for me, Kabayel does get hit quite easy, and I do feel as if Zhang will catch him, and I think he'll knock him out. But it's a total 50-50 fight, and like I say, if Kabayel is still there at the halfway stage, I think the going will get really tough for Zhang, and that's when he might come unstuck. I don't see Kabayel stopping Zhang, but I could definitely see him beating him on points. But for me, I do feel as if a bigger bang will catch Kabayel, and I think he'll have enough in the locker to finish him. But again, total 50-50, and this could go anyway. Virgil Ortiz Jr. against Israel Madrimov. My God, just another mouth-watering matchup. This has got war written all over it. Ortiz was involved in one of the fights of the year last year against Bukacek. He did come through. He did get dropped a couple of times, but he won via a majority decision. Madrimov obviously lost to Crawford last time out, but he did give him a really good fight. He was the first man to go the distance with Crawford for a very long time, so he'll be confident. I do think he's technically better than Ortiz. I think Ortiz is the bigger puncher, but I think Madrimov will have enough to win on points in a thrilling fight. So next up, we've got Carlos Adames defending his WBC middleweight title against Hamza Shiraz. I mean, what do you even say? This card is just absolute filth. Hamza is obviously massive for middleweight, 6'3", in the form of his life. He just knocked out Tyler Denny on the undercard of AJ Dubois inside 2 rounds. Before that, he knocked out Amo Williams, which was another fantastic performance on the 5v5 card. And before that, he annihilated Liam Williams in 1 round. He's got serious knockout power and he can end you at any moment. But Adames is no mug, 18 knockouts and 24 wins. He's obviously the champion, so he'll be confident that he can catch Hamza and finish him, which he definitely could. But for me, I do feel as if Shiraz has just got a bit more about him, and I do feel as if he will get Adames down the stretch, and it'll be a late stoppage win for Shiraz. But another fight that is so hard to call, and I wouldn't be surprised with any result in this one. I think a lot of people think it's a given that Shiraz is going to win. It's far from that. But I do think he will come through here, but it's going to be a tough night for sure. So next up, we've got Shakur Stevenson against Josh Padley. Obviously, madness really this week. There's always one pullout, isn't there, on fight week? And unfortunately for Floyd Schofield, he was forced to withdraw. I see a lot of people online saying that he's faking it, and it just cracks me up. I just think these guys are fighters. They're prize fighters who love fighting. They've been doing it their whole life. Why would Floyd Schofield agree to fight Shakur Stevenson and then on fight week fake an illness? Just stop thinking everything is a conspiracy. Like, it's unbelievable how stupid some of these people are. Obviously he's ill. It's not acting. But yeah, gutted for Schofield because obviously you don't fight, you don't get paid. I'm sure he spent a fortune on a training camp, worked his arse off. This was his opportunity, by far his biggest payday. But on the flip side, what an opportunity for Josh Padley. I mean, let's be honest, he's got 2 hopes. Bob Hope and no fucking hope, but who cares? He's getting a monster payday. He's a part-time electrician. He's going to pay off his mortgage. And you know what? If he pulls it off, it would be one of the biggest upsets in boxing history because I just don't see it myself. But again, if he gets stopped in a round, who cares? He can come back. He's already actually won as a huge underdog on a Riyadh season card. So he'll be quietly confident, but unfortunately for him, he's not going to outbox Stevenson, and he's not a big puncher, Padley. But he did drop Mark Chamberlain, who was a huge favourite against him. That was on the undercard of AJ Dubois. So good luck to him. I would love it if Padley knocked out Shakur. I just don't see it myself. I think Stevenson will win this, and I think he'll win it on points because he is very much safety first. And that's the good thing for Padley. Yes, he's coming in at late notice, but it's not like Stevenson's a massive puncher, so he's not going to get ironed out. I mean, he might get stopped, but it is unlikely that he's going to get brutally knocked out here. And full credit to Padley as well for being on weight. I mean, he's got a job outside of boxing. He obviously got the call on fight week. He didn't have a fight scheduled, and he was ready to go. So to lesson to all fighters, Ishmael Davies has actually came in on late notice twice. So always be ready for that phone call, and you might just get an opportunity that will change your life. Whatever happens with Padley this weekend, he has won. But yeah, Shakur on points via a unanimous decision. He'll probably win every round, and it'll be boring to watch. But come on, Joshy boy. And in the co-main, we've got the small matter of Daniel Dubois defending his IBF World Heavyweight title against Joseph Parker. Actually, guys, this is way too much for me. I'm going to have to go and change my pants. I just couldn't contain myself anymore. I'll be back in a second. So obviously, last time out, Daniel Dubois annihilated AJ at Wembley, dropping him 4 times en route to a 5th round knockout. It was a brutal performance from Dubois, who would just not be denied. He was like a man possessed in their sensational performance. I mean, he definitely talks a glass eye to sleep outside the ring, but I tell you what, in the ring, he can put you to sleep at any moment. And he's in the form of his life. He's full of confidence. Before the AJ win, where he was a huge underdog, he was again a massive underdog against Filip Hrgović. He stopped him inside 8 rounds. And before that, on the Day of Reckoning card, he also stopped Big Baby Miller. A lot of people picked Big Baby to beat Dubois. Dubois came through that, and I think that was the fight that really started off the momentum for him. I do feel as if Dubois is overlooking Parker. I think that was evident when he called out Usyk after Usyk beat Fury for the 2nd time. But he is also super professional. He's never out of shape. I don't know what Dubois gets up to in his spare time apart from collecting stamps and watching paint dry. But I don't think he drinks or takes drugs. So I do think we will get a very good version of Dubois. I think he will be on it. But if he is completely overlooking Parker, which maybe he is, he will come unstuck here because Parker is in fantastic form as well. Coming off that great win against Zhang, apart from the 2 rounds he got knocked down in, he did win pretty much every round, so he's going to be full of belief. He can beat yet again another massive puncher. He beat Deontay Wilder as well, schooled him before he beat Zhang, so Parker is in the form of his life. He's actually looking a lot better now than what he ever did when he was world champion. He's 33, he's got Andy Lee in his corner. They clearly work really well together, and I think they'll come up with a game plan that could work And I do think Parker will win rounds in there, especially early. But for me, I do feel as if when Dubois gets Parker hurt, unlike Zhang, I think he will finish him. Parker is definitely the better boxer than Dubois. I would not be surprised at all if he pulled this off and won on points. But I do just think Dubois will get to him, and I think he'll stop him probably in the mid to late rounds. But it is another 50-50 fight. I am buzzing for it. May the best man win. And I just can't wait for all these fights. It's going to be so good. There are a couple of other silly 6-rounders on the card, but not even the fighters involved give a flying fuck. It is all about the fights I've just mentioned, and obviously the main event. It is going to be a historic night of boxing. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you could. It would really help me out. I'm trying to get to 30 subscribers by the end of the year, so please hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you could as well. Let me know your thoughts as well, guys, on this super sexy night of boxing. I hope you all enjoy it, and I will catch you all on the next one.